Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, two men from Cuero arrested this morning by Victoria police. Gas prices keep rising in the Crossroads and across the country. And State Representative Jeannie Morrison comments on the Ken Paxton impeachment trial.
Well, after a really good rain on Saturday, we had a pretty nice Sunday. You got to admit, right now we've got the low humidity and it's going to be a nice evening. We'll take a look to see what the temperatures look like for the rest of the week. All that coming up.
And the Texas high school state rankings are out again, and some area teams are moving up. See which in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the night off. Around 3:30 this morning, Victoria Police Department pulled over these two men in the 4300 block of Main Street. Authorities say officers found marijuana and a firearm inside the vehicle. 19-year-old Robert Garza, 20-year-old Rudy Garza, accused of having marijuana and illegally having a firearm. They're both from Cuero. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick requesting a special audit on the total cost of the impeachment trial of Attorney General Ken Paxton. Patrick announced Monday he sent a letter to the state auditor requesting the audit. Paxton was acquitted Saturday and reinstated. Patrick said he wants to determine the absolute cost to the state from the time preparations began to the conclusion of the trial. State Representative Jeannie Morrison for District 30 sent us this statement Monday on the Paxton impeachment trial. Quote, I voted against impeaching Ken Paxton in the Texas House because I was concerned about the speed and transparency of the process. Now, the Texas Senate decided there was not enough evidence to remove Paxton from office. I appreciate their thoughtful consideration of the facts presented by both sides and respect their decision, unquote. This month is Hispanic Heritage Month. It runs from September 15th to October 15th, a period that covers the Independence Days for several Spanish-speaking countries. The month is a time to celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of Hispanic people living in the U.S. The celebration dates back to 1968, when it lasted a week. Thanks to a law signed in 1988 by then President Ronald Reagan, it's now a full month celebration. Here's your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. And here's the question. How do you honor National Hispanic Heritage Month? Here are the choices that have received some votes so far. 5% explore historical sites, 5% explore museums, and let's see, 90% enjoy traditional food. We thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we'll have an update on 25 News now after Monday Night Football. The county-wide burn ban in Jackson County now lifted. The burn ban put into effect July 25th. Moisture conditions are favorable for controlled burning within Jackson County. The county-wide burn ban in Wharton County now lifted. You are asked to be cautious if you must burn in that county. Authorities ask that you immediately report any fires that may get out of hand. And now let's take a first look at your forecast. Here's First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. Mac, those burn bans, I would say, a direct result of those showers, especially on Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, we had probably 2 inches of rain on Saturday, and that was great. And it perfectly that it pulled out of here on Sunday and gave us a fairly nice Sunday. We're going to take a look at the Atlantic coming up in a moment. Lee is a distant memory, but we've got Nigel and maybe Ophelia off there in the Atlantic. We'll be talking about that and taking a look at your 7-day forecast coming up in a moment. Don?
Mac, thank you. Prices at the pump climbed to their highest level of the year Monday. AAA reports the national average for regular gas hit $3.88 a gallon, the highest price since October of last year. Gas prices nationally now 20 cents above where they were at this point last year. 11 U.S. states now average $4 or higher. AAA Texas reports the average gas price in Victoria, $3.39 per gallon. That's up 13 cents from a week ago, but 3 cents less than a month ago. A large group of about 500 migrants crossed into the U.S. illegally. Border Patrol officials say the group is made up of adult men and families, and the majority appear to be from Venezuela. They made illegal entry between Ciudad Juarez and El Paso Monday morning. All of them have now been taken to a U.S. Border Patrol processing facility. Authorities say they will use Title VIII to remove anyone without proper documentation. A Fort Worth family's dog miraculously survives a house fire that burned everything else down.
There is very little left of Gentry and Ron King's home.
The media room was right above us, and it's no longer there.
Last Saturday, the Fort Worth couple got the call. They were out of town. There had been a storm.
That very back corner right there is where, of the closet, is where the lightning struck.
All of their clothes burned. Half of their house collapsed.
We did have family photos. Our home videos were up in here. They're gone.
But Gentry and Ron ooze positivity.
The Fort Worth Fire Department's fantastic.
There's good that's going to come out of this.
Hold on to the banister as well as you can.
Because nothing they lost, not the yearbooks,
She graduated a couple years ago.
pictures,
This is our oldest, Clayton, and this was his high school graduation picture.
not even the house itself matters more than Ruby.
They told us that Ruby was missing.
Ruby is the King's beloved dog, passed down to them from Gentry's mother, who died only 4 months ago.
And all I hear from Gentry is like, you've got to find Ruby, you got to find Ruby, you got to find Ruby.
Janice Holstein is Gentry's best friend, tasked with looking for Ruby as the Kings rushed back to town.
So I'm like, if she's in that pool, I'm going in after her, dead or alive. I'm going to find this dog.
It took 9 hours, but Janice finally found her.
Right, literally here, you could just see her head sticking out right there. There's not a burn on her. There's not a scratch on her.
That miracle, combined with the crosses that survived when almost nothing else did, strengthened the Kings' faith. They hope their story might strengthen someone else's too.
And every single bit of it was worth it.
The plan is to rebuild right here, where Ruby was found,
You okay?
and where they felt God's love, in the dirtiest, darkest place.
This year's Great Gobbler Gallop is underway. Race number 1 was Saturday in Worthington, Minnesota. It was a little back and forth, but Paycheck pulled off the win with a time of 1 minute 9.35 seconds. Cuero's Ruby Begonia finished in 1 minute 47.07 seconds. They take the cumulative times from the 2 races to find out who wins the Great Gobbler Gallop. Round 2 is in downtown Cuero, October 14th at 10:30 a.m. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service urging consumers not to eat certain cans of Spam Classic shipped to H-E-B stores in Texas. KSAT reports this is a public health alert, not a recall due to underprocessing. A recall was not issued because authorities believe it is no longer available for purchase. The 12-ounce canned meat was made on August 17th. The meat subject to the alert has a best by August 2026 date. Another round of nightly road closures for the Zach Lentz Parkway project starts tonight. Running through this Thursday, Zach Lentz Parkway, Loop 463, will close between Houston Highway and Lone Tree Road from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. This is part of the Loop 463 bridge widening construction project. The U.S. Postal Service's annual Letters to Santa program now accepting letters. The program, which helps children in need have a great holiday, is now in its 11th year. Excuse me, its 111th year. Youngsters can write a letter with specific details of what gift they want. The requests are put on a website. Generous strangers then adopt letters and send the gifts anonymously. They need to be postmarked by December 11th. The website USPSOperationsSanta.com opens for letter adopters on November 20th. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6, abortions resume in Wisconsin for the first time since the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on abortion last year. Also ahead, a Houston area woman completes a puzzle that's almost as big as Texas. Planned Parenthood in Wisconsin has resumed offering abortion services. The move comes after 2 state court rulings where judges confirmed that the 1849 law, which prohibits abortions, is not enforceable in the state. People of all ages, signs, and mixed emotions lined the sidewalk in front of Planned Parenthood on Water Street in Milwaukee this morning. Planned Parenthood also providing birth control, STD tests, pelvic exams, cancer screening, and other pregnancy-related care. A North Carolina couple says their teenage daughter discovered a hidden camera inside a bathroom on an American Airlines plane. This reportedly happened during a flight to Boston earlier this month. The teen's parents say they are worried about what was caught on the camera.
It's sickening.
Those are the only words a North Carolina couple can find to describe what they say happened to their teenage daughter on a Boston-bound American Airlines flight.
The last thing you expect is to have to worry on an airplane that one of your kids is going to get targeted by a pedophile.
The 14-year-old's mother and father talking only to Channel 5. They're not sharing their identity to protect their daughter, but say a male flight attendant instructed her to use the first-class restroom, but only after he went in first.
And when he came out, he told her, "The seat is broken."
This red tape that reads "seat broken" was on the lid when she went in. But after using the toilet, she noticed a phone underneath the tape and took this picture.
Do you worry about what was caught on that camera?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely we do.
To the point that it sickens us.
When the girl got back to her seat, she showed her parents the photo. Her mother immediately went to look into the bathroom herself, but at that point the phone was gone. Her father confronted the attendant, who looked to be in his late 20s or early 30s.
But I showed him the picture and his face went white. I've never seen anyone's face do that before.
Do you think that she was specifically targeted?
Absolutely.
I mean, he approached her while she was waiting for the bathroom. He walked her up there. He went in right before her and then right after her.
The couple was traveling to Boston to move their son into college. What was supposed to be a joyous occasion turned out to be a nightmare. And now their daughter is feeling disappointed and shocked by the violation of privacy.
And there are a lot of things we worry about when we travel now, but one of them is not that your child is going to be exploited and targeted for the procurement of child pornography.
The son of Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman pleaded not guilty to drug and money laundering charges. Ovidio Guzman Lopez made his first court appearance in a federal courthouse in Chicago Monday afternoon. He was extradited from Mexico on Friday. During the hearing, prosecutors say the death penalty was taken off the table as part of extradition negotiations with Mexico. Guzman Lopez will be held without bond pending trial and is due back in court on November 17th. A Houston area woman with something of a puzzle obsession just finished a puzzle with over 40,000 pieces. It's the product of years of effort.
Right now, this is what what she just finished today, a puzzle with more than 40,000 pieces. I can tell you that this in length is more than 20 feet and in width more than 6 feet. So this is a massive masterpiece. And you can see, of course, Disney related, kind of with all the Disney movies, your favorite childhood movies. And of course, we do have to mention that Disney is our parent company here at ABC 13. Just want to show you just the beauty that is this puzzle. So after taking more than 3 years to build this huge masterpiece that I was telling her parents, that looks like a rug to me. That's how massive this is. We were asking her, what are you going to do with this now? She tells us that the Beauty and the Beast scene that she built out is her favorite one. She's going to frame it. She's going to keep that one. But as for the other 9 scenes, she's still trying to figure out what she's going to do.
I had run out of puzzles to do. I was borrowing them from coworkers and friends and buying them from thrift stores, and I started doing them upside down and realized I needed to get something a little bigger to take up more time, and this one definitely did that.
And naturally, the next question is, what is she going to do with this enormous puzzle? Is it going to stay in the middle of the living room? Well, she does tell us that this Beauty and the Beast scene she's going to keep. She's going to frame and keep it forever. But what about the other 9 scenes? All of them taking, again, more than 3 years to build out.
That's a lot of pieces, that's for sure. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Saturday's rain was great. Sunday's break was great, too. We'll talk about that in a minute. As you head out the door, or maybe not, we're looking at 93 degrees. We did manage to get up to 94 this afternoon, a little bit closer to our average temperature of 90. But we haven't done average in, I don't know, 6 months, something like that. Coming up, we're going to be talking about how our temperatures should stay a little bit more reasonable. And this is the last week of summertime, finally. We'll talk more about that coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. You know, on Saturday we had that big rainstorm that came through the area. I think most people got a little bit of rain. Some of the heavier totals. Riverside Park got over 2 inches. Telfner got 2.5. LaSalle got about 2 inches. Raisin only an inch, but that's, you know, better than nothing. And 2.4 out in Stratton, up in DeWitt County, and Hallettsville, only about an inch. So it was good. And you know, the Sunday turned out a whole lot better than I expected. And the reason for that is the little frontal system that came through. Well, it kept going. It kept going. It brought in some dry air, and Sunday was spectacular with lower humidities. Right about now, everything's fairly quiet in the crossroads. We look up here, there's San Antonio, a couple little pop-up showers late this afternoon up there in Fair Oaks and Barney, I guess, in those areas. Little stationary front right about here. And as I mentioned, our front came down. Remember, it was fall up in North Texas and summer down south. Well, that frontal system just kept going, and as a result, pretty much pushed all the shower activity, all that tropical stuff down off the Gulf waters. So for today, your observed temperatures, you can see how we were at 94 as a high temperature, Dallas at 93, 89 in Lubbock. But remember, with low humidity, that's not bad at all. It's when that humidity is high that it gets pretty oppressive. These are your forecast highs for tomorrow. Still will be in the mid 90 range, as you see right about there, and pretty much the entire state will be in the 90s. However, low humidity again makes it a little bit more comfortable. Notice that here we have a lot of gray between Austin, San Antonio, and Houston. They have ozone alert days, and what that is that you know, we pollute when we drive our cars because it's not a clean burn. And when we put it out in the atmosphere, the pollutants mix with the water vapor or whatever there is and become other things like ozone. You know, O2 is 2 oxygens. Ozone is 3 molecules of oxygen, and ozone is not a good thing. It hurts your eyes, hurts your tongue, your throat, so it's basically telling people to stay indoors. We'll take a look at the Atlantic, see what's going on. Lee is fortunately a distant memory way up here. after coming through the Nova Scotia area. We now have Nigel, some here in the mid-Atlantic, but not going to be much of a problem because that one is also going northbound and out into the Atlantic. And this should be Ophelia once it gets organized, but at this point in time, not a lot of fear in terms of Ophelia. These are the storms that we have used so far this year, all the way to Nigel and Ophelia, and I still think we're going to end up in the RST category before this whole thing is over. In terms of us, I wouldn't worry about it. It's pretty much over for Texas, and the reason? Well, the frontal systems are now moving. Well, at the end of this week, we actually, on Saturday, we don't move the clocks yet, but this is the official beginning of fall. It's the autumnal equinox. And what does that mean? Well, the sun, instead of being high on the horizon, is coming down to the middle of the horizon and slowly going to go south. Looking at 491 tomorrow in Port Lavaca for Cuero. We're looking for a high of 94 as well. We're going to stay in the mid-90s. I don't expect any hundreds. And by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, that Gulf moisture starts rolling back in and gives us a slight chance of a little pop-up shower during the afternoon hours. That is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody, we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Big Don. Oh, by the way, Don.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate that. I just keep going, you know.
Yeah, like the Energizer Bunny.
Right. Rain or shine. Yes. Throw that in for Mac. He knew that already. All right, Sports Director Gino Perez is here. Two of the running backs you used to cover, Gino, had pretty good Saturdays.
Yeah, and also a receiver that you used to cover too, Don. So that's coming up after the break. At the Crossroads, Texas high school state rankings are out and a couple of teams are moving on up. The Refugio Bobcats are the highest ranked team in the Crossroads, coming in at number 2 in the state. The Bobcats have had 2 weeks to prepare for the upcoming district game against Bloomington. Both teams had an off week last week due to cancellations, so both will be prepared for the first district matchup. Last week, the Tidehaven Tigers did not play due to the weather, but did not suffer in the rankings because of that. It is unfortunate the Tigers could not play against a good industrial team before district starts. The Tigers are number 3 in the state and will travel to Rice Consolidated to take on the Raiders. The Edna Cowboys will have an ample amount of time to get healthy and get ready for district. Edna's game versus Sinton was canceled this past Friday as well, and the Cowboys are heading into its bye week, meaning they will have not played a football game in 21 days since losing to Refugio by 1 point a couple weeks ago. The Cowboys are facing off against London Friday. For now, Edna is ranked number 8 in Class 3A, Division I. The Oakham Bulldogs were in a dogfight against the Calhoun Sand Crabs and came out on top by 1 point. The Bulldogs are just behind Edna at number 9 in the state. The Oakham has a couple of weeks before district starts. Friday, the Bulldogs go into Gonzales to take on the Apaches as the number 9 ranked team in the state. Yet another Crossroads team could not finish its game on Friday due to the weather. but it did go into halftime. Cuero was credited with the win over Corpus Christi Calallen with a 22-14 score, but it really doesn't matter because it was a non-district game anyway. Cuero has 1 week until district when the Gobblers host the Giddings Buffaloes. This Friday, Cuero will take on Beeville Trojans, and the Mean Green are still at number 4 in the state. And speaking of rankings, 2 former Crossroads athletes are on a team that is ranked number 3 in the nation. Former Hallettsville Brahma running back Jonathan Brooks and former Cuero Gobbler Jordan Winnington both saw action Saturday night against the Wyoming's Cowboys. Brooks led the team with 164 yards rushing. Whittington tallied 14 yards on 1 catch. The Longhorns beat the Cowboys 31-10 and move up to number 3 in the nation. Georgia is at number 1, Michigan sits at 2, and the only 2 changes in the top 10 are Florida State falling to number 4 and Oregon jumping to number 10 after Alabama falls to 13. And yet another former Crossroads athlete shined on one of the biggest stages in Texas. Former El Campo Ricebird running back Ruben Owens showed flashes of what we saw here in the Crossroads many times. The former 5-star running back cut his way through the defense for a 21-yard touchdown. The Aggies never looked back and went on to win 47-3 against Louisiana Monroe. The Aggies will prepare for Auburn on Saturday. That's your sports. Don, back to you.
Fun to watch those guys doing very well at the next level. All right, Gino, thank you. We're back in a moment. An unwanted and unbearable visitor at Walt Disney World today has been captured. Finally tonight, parts of Magic Kingdom in Orlando closed around midday today due to sightings of a bear. Park officials say the bear was seen in a tree earlier today and was probably moving around the park searching for food. Representatives from Florida Fish and Wildlife trying to recapture and relocate the bear. The My Disney Experience app showed multiple attractions were closed. The bear has been captured, as you see there. That's got to be a little scary.
Yeah.
There are enough attractions on there to maybe scare people, you know, just
he was looking for the bare necessities, Don.
See, I thought he worked there, you know. The bear,
right, yeah.
He didn't work
Disney
there.
Bears, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Fortunately, it didn't turn into a grizzly situation.
No.
And, you know, we got caught in kind of a storm Saturday. There was a lot of lightning and thunder.
It came through. It dropped a good 2 inches of rain. And by Sunday, could you tell?
No.
It was just, just gone. So it was good to get something. And now we are looking at temperatures staying in the mid-90s, which is good. Less and less sunshine. And on Saturday, we begin fall. So that's a good sign. And there's Christmas decorations at the stores already. So Makes you feel cooler, doesn't it?
Yeah. Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us. See you at 10.